Welcome back to Houston Life. The holidays are supposed to be a joyful time, but for many of us, it can feel overwhelming. People have work deadlines, family expectations, and those to-do lists that never seem to end. So the season sometimes can feel like it's running us instead of the other way around,
It
Eric.
is so true. So balance may not exist during the holidays, but our next guest, Houston-based speaker and author Carol Enneking, says rebalancing is the key to surviving and actually enjoying the season. Carol, welcome to the show. It's so nice to meet you. This is something I think a lot of people can relate to, because finding balance, you hear work-life balance. People want to spend their time doing the things they love and maybe less time doing the headachy things. Why is this such a struggle for so many of us?
You know, I think there's a lot to that question, but I think part of it is we have so much available to us now. We've got videos that show us how to have the most amazing life, the best parties, the best everything. And it's all at our fingertips. But having all of that stimulation all the time, I think, sort of produces this thought that we should and can try to do even more. And maybe we get caught up in chasing that, and we're not really thinking about, is this even the right thing to do? Or is this what I ought to be spending my time on? And I think in our quest to have it all, we confuse that with trying to do it all. And life isn't about doing it all. It's about picking what matters the most, and having some powerful yeses, and also being able to give some powerful nos, so that you have that margin to be able to enjoy the things that matter the most.
Yeah, and your book, the Rebalancing Act. I mean, it's a clever title. It's a fun play on words, and it's a great cover and book. But you really put a lot of thought into this, because you saw what were you finding when you were talking to people and through your own life experience?
So if you would have asked someone who knew me 10 or 15 years ago to describe me, maybe it would have been at my funeral or something like that, and they say, what did Carol stand for? They would have said things like, she gets so much done, I don't know how she does it all, she's always busy, she's a go-getter, she's stressed, she probably doesn't have a lot of time for fun. And I thought, I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to be known for just doing so much. And I was really wearing myself out. And I think it's a common problem, especially for those of us working, juggling family, all the things. And I finally, I think, started to think about what kind of life do I really want to lead? What do I want to be doing, and why am I spending so much time doing what I think others expect me to do, or what society says I should be doing? So that was part of it. And then I had some health situations that really sort of forced that thought into the forefront of my mind, like, okay, you got to let something go. You can't just keep burning the candle at both ends. It takes its toll on your health, on your relationships, on every aspect of your life. And so for me, the legacy I wanted to leave had more to do with what kind of parent do I want to be? What kind of world do I want to leave for my children? What kind of mark do I want to make on that world? And then how am I going to do more of that? And a lot of that has to do with stepping away from all the things and just being more present. So that was my experience. And then I wanted to write the book to find out how other people have found that balance. I'm not sure balance exists. I put it in air quotes, but you know, the minute everything feels balanced, something's going to change.
Yeah.
And so it's, how do you make the best decision in the moment when things don't go the way they should? And how do you make sure you're staying true to what you value most, instead of just getting caught up in the cycle of doing so much?
It is nice to know that we are not alone. All of us are not alone in our struggle to find balance. You have more than 30 years as a business leader, a global consultant. When you were diagnosed with breast cancer, as you just mentioned, your health issues, this was a reset period for you in your life where you had to step back and reevaluate. For many of us, that evaluation or reevaluation process doesn't happen until we have a major life event or a tragedy or a big illness. And that's part of the reason you wrote this book. You want people to reevaluate now
Without the big
tragedy,
exactly.
Yes.
so they can refocus their life.
Right. I'm on a mission to help people redefine success before it redefines them.
Wow.
Because if you don't act with intentionality, pretty soon years will just fly by and you'll be thinking, wasn't I going to do something that mattered? Wasn't I going to step away from this cycle? It's like being on the treadmill and never jumping off and never changing. And so for me with the breast cancer, I mean, that was part of it. Also, I mean, I went through a divorce that was sudden. I reset my career. I've had a lot of things kind of hit me by surprise, but it all caused me to take stock and say, what really matters? And by letting go of what I thought mattered, it's made space for what could be. And so here I am with the love of my life. I've met the most amazing man. We're so happily married. We have a wonderful life together, and none of that would have been possible if I had stayed on the road I was on.
That is so true. I mean, divorce is earth-shattering for so many people, and it is devastating. But without your divorce, you wouldn't have this new man.
Yeah, so I wanted to inspire some hope for people that through the tough stuff, you can come out better. But you got to stay true to what matters the most to you. And so that's why in the book, I interviewed 70 women and men and tried to find out from them what's worked to help you when you feel like you have too much. Life is, you're going down this road and it's not really the road you intended to be on. How do you pivot? How do you make changes?
We're going to stick a pin in it right there, but don't worry, she is sticking around. Carol's sticking around. After the break, we're going to have more about what she learned, protecting your peace, and that's when Houston Life returns.
Welcome back to Houston Life. If you've been feeling stretched thin this holiday season, do not worry, you are not alone. We've been chatting about rebalancing for the holidays instead of trying to make everyone else happy. Carol Enneking, thanks so much for continuing this conversation. She is the author of The Rebalancing Act, Wisdom from Working Women for Success That Matters. You have a concept that's called pause, pivot, and proceed. So when it comes to resilience, that's not about avoiding the problem or the chaos altogether. It's about dealing with what just happened, right? Delayed flight, unexpected marriage ending, something like that.
Yeah, you've got to stop the madness. You've got to be willing to hit the pause button. And sometimes we stay so busy that things happen, and then the instant thing that we want to do is just react and be like, oh my gosh, this happened. What am I going to do? But if we can pause and say, okay, it happened. How are we going to move on? And flip the conversation so it's about what do we do next? So you've got to be able to pause long enough to make that pivot, because like I said, the minute anything's balanced, you have to rebalance. So when things go wrong, flights are delayed, you burn the pie, whatever it is, you've got to figure out what to do next. And so if you can catch yourself in those moments and really examine your motivations and ask yourself questions like, does this matter? The old, in 10 years from now, is it going to matter that I did this or didn't do this? And when you can put things in perspective like that, then you're able to let things go and move forward.
Big picture is important. You have created something you call the Holiday Survival Guide, and that is kind of to help families navigate some of this holiday mayhem. What are the big takeaways from that?
So a lot of it is about examining your motivations. What's most important for you in this holiday season? And it doesn't matter whether it's Hanukkah, Christmas, Valentine's, Easter, whatever the holiday is. But what's most important? And many times it's the presence. And I mean presence.
With a C.
Being there, not the physical presence. But it's being there and being present. So how can you focus more on that and maybe choose to let go of some of the things that might take you away from that? So one of the survival tips is just thinking about what your overall goal is from the holiday, and then keeping that in mind no matter what distractions come your way. So keeping anchor points. Things get really busy. You might have 6 holiday parties on a weekend and a dance recital and everything else, but what can you keep consistent? Can you have your morning coffee routine that's the same? Can you try to go to bed at the same time? Can you maybe say no to that extra drink so that you can get up easier in the morning? You know, it's easy to enjoy and imbibe during the holidays, but what can you do to kind of keep those anchor points so that when you do have all those things going on, you're still managing to do it without totally wearing yourself out?
Protecting your peace is another one of the keys. And how do we do that? Because saying no, I mean, I've spent a lifetime learning how to say no. This is critical, right?
Yeah. It is. Because when you can say no to something, you can say a stronger yes to something else. So when you think of it in terms of that, so what am I able to open myself up to doing by not doing this? Instead of worrying about what the no is about, think about what that enables you to do otherwise. Everybody can understand a no, especially when it's a no made for the right reasons with some thought and intent.
And this could be anything from a PTA meeting to a social event.
That's right. And one of the things that us women, because we think differently than men, we tend to take on a lot of those invisible roles very readily. But one of the things that we have to do is we've got to be comfortable with letting go of guilt and just saying, this is okay. And by the way, letting go can also mean I don't have to be the one to do it all.
Yeah.
Let your children help you.
That's
Let your
powerful.
partner help you.
Ask
Let
for help.
somebody else
Yeah.
be part of it. They want to help. And so I've had people tell me that they have their older children help with Elf on the Shelf so that it's not totally up to them.
Yeah.
And what's funny is sometimes when women start asking their partner for help with some of these things, they'll say, does this really matter? And sometimes that perspective is exactly what you need because you think it matters in the moment, but then when they put it in perspective and say, in the grand scheme of things of what we're trying to do with our family, maybe it's okay if we just move the elf on the shelf instead of making it the world's most creative elf on the shelf moment tonight.
Yeah.
So sometimes having help might invite people to be doing it different ways than you would, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That is all okay. And that's a powerful takeaway. Carol Enneking, we're out of time, but it's so nice to meet you. And thanks for helping us get through the holidays.
Thank you for having me.
The
and
constant
happy holidays.
quest to find balance in life. So
good
we
chat.
have provided a link to connect with Carol and also learn more about her tips. Just visit our website, HoustonLife.tv, and look for that scene on Houston Life section.